All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you. It's 9 Minutes with me on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. I am doing this from the Brewerton Diner here again today. I came for lunch, and look what just arrived. I've got the Philly cheesesteak with these homemade kettle chips, which are just to die for. You got to get down here and try the amazing food. They've got great breakfast items. I had an omelet over the weekend. Had a patty melt a couple of weeks ago. This place is spectacularly good, and you can come for breakfast or lunch. It's off of Bartell Road in Brewerton. Call them up, 315-668-1546. They've also got some fresh ground coffee that they sell up front. You can take it by the bag. And don't forget, when you come in, try every possible menu item if you haven't already had it. Great fresh ingredients. Butter is the real deal. He uses real oil. Mike and Jackie and the gang doing a great job. You leave this diner, you're content, you're full. You don't have that overstuffed feeling. The place is tremendous. The Brewerton Diner, the official diner of the ML Sports Platter off of Bartell Road in Brewerton. Bartell Miller sort of connects, so you got to get down here. I am telling you right now, we're going to focus in on a topic that has been bothering me for a very, very long time. I don't understand why Yankee fans don't see it. I don't understand why a lot of baseball fans don't see it. I don't understand why a lot of media people, whether they're New York or national media people, don't see it. Brian Cashman, over the years, has been super overrated as the Yankees GM. I don't understand what the love affair is for Brian Cashman. Yes, of course, he's pulled off some really good moves through the years. He's worked with low bargain type players. He's worked with some role guys that nobody would take a chance on. Look what we did this year. At one time, Lance Lynn was a nice Band-Aid. J.A. Happ has worked out. You remember Aaron Small years ago made the move to call up Robbie Cano, and Chin-Ming Wong was there, of course. And there's been a lot of those moves, but folks, for every single signing that I can give you or every single trade that Brian Cashman has done that has been really good, I can give you 5 or 6 really, really horrendous moves. Does anybody remember what happened when he got the keys to the Yankee Kingdom in terms of decision-making after the collapse of 2004? Oh, go fix the pitching. Go get me more arms. Go do this, go do that. He goes out and gets in too old Randy Johnson. I know he ended up getting about, 17, 18 wins back-to-back years, but that was still a struggle to watch a 41, 42-year-old Randy Johnson pitch in the Bronx. This guy clearly had barely anything of what he had in the prime. He showed moments, but for the money that they paid in bringing in an over 40-year-old player, you got to be kidding me. Remember Jarrett Wright? Remember Carl Pavano? Remember Kei Agawa? I mean, for every single solid move that the Yankees have made under Brian Cashman, and for every single trade that they've made that's been pretty solid, I can give you a 3-1 here on this with Brian Cashman and his difficulty, my difficulty in terms of believing that he's one of the best general managers in Major League Baseball. I mean, I just don't see it. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I don't really use payroll as one of the things to judge a general manager. A lot of people want to use the payroll, the money factor with the New York Yankees. They have unlimited resources, blah, blah, blah. They want to use that as the main factor for success. I think it's total bullshit. When you take a look at the Yankees from 96 to 01, sure, they got free agents in. They traded for people. They had David Wells, and they traded him and Homer Bush for Roger Clemens. They went out and got major players. Later on, you get an A-Rod. Later, you get a Gary Sheffield. You sign Hideki Matsui. You sign El Duque Hernandez. I get that. You sign players. They have a lot of money. They had the TV deal back when it was MSG. Now it's Yes. But that was still built on Jeter, Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettitte, and Bernie Williams, those 5 guys. And then I think when you take a look at everything else, what about the role players? What about Jose Vizcaíno, Chad Curtis, Joe Girardi, players like that through the years, Shane Spencer, those kind of players that really, really helped you out. And then they had a bullpen of a lot of really no-names until they were Yankees helping out Mariano Rivera after Rivera set up Wetland in 96 with the likes of Ramiro Mendoza, Jeff Nelson, Graham Lloyd, you name it. So, I think people miss the boat on the payroll thing. Although with the Dodgers at this point, I'd love the national media people to start writing columns and go nuts that the Dodgers have had a payroll between $230 and $275 million the last, 4 or 5 years. This team has spent over $1 billion on payroll the last 5 years. This team they made the World Series last year, but they lost. Nobody seems to write about how the Dodgers have completely choked when you look at their payroll and the amount of stars and the amount of players and pitchers they have. Clayton Kershaw, arguably the best of the generation. I mean, this is, come on. Somebody's got to start hammering on the LA Dodgers. And, the other thing with Brian Cashman, too, is don't forget, he was a part of the Yankees organization before he became GM. He was like an assistant to the GM. He was an assistant to Gene Michael, an assistant to Bob Watson. And if you remember how the Yankees were built, it was back in the 90s when Gene Michael said, take a breath, save all of our farm kids, Rivera's going to be fine, Jeter's going to be fine. Clyde King, who was a George Steinbrenner Goomba, said you're going to never win with Derek Jeter at shortstop. Oops, how'd that turn out? Bernie Williams, you can't trade him. You've got a real special guy here in Andy Pettitte. Just give him a little bit of time. Guy almost won a Cy Young in 1996. So, Gene Michael built that team when George Steinbrenner was in jail trying to dig up dirt on Howard Spira in terms of the Dave Winfield situation. I'm telling you right now, I think Cashman inherited a lot of what Gene Michael built and a lot of what Bob Watson built. And I will give Cashman credit where credit's due. With the low-end guys, I'll give him credit with Didi Gregorius. That was obviously, I think, probably to this day, his best trade. This year, he did some things at the trade deadline without breaking the bank and trading a bunch of guys. The Yankees' patience hopefully will pay off. You take a look at the patience now. People are still waiting for Greg Bird to kind of get going. Gary Sanchez, I think there's still a lot there. I don't think you can give up on him yet, but he's got to show up in 2019 in playing shape at spring training. I talked to Ken Singleton on my podcast this morning, and he said he probably didn't show up in the right shape. I agree with that. Also up here, something between the ears with Gary Sanchez. The guy just is not focused at all, and you've got a lackadaisical ho-hum manager in Aaron Boone. He's not exactly going to kick that dude in the ass. But people are waiting for Gary Sanchez, Greg Bird. But the Yankees have stayed pat. They've stayed patient. They didn't trade Gleyber Torres, or even dangle him, let's say, for Jacob deGrom. I don't think that the Yankees would have gotten Jacob deGrom from the Mets under any circumstance anyway, because I don't think the Mets would have traded him cross town. But the Yankees didn't maneuver and try to wheel and deal and dangle their big guys. They didn't dangle Miguel Andujar over to the San Francisco Giants for Madison Bumgarner. They didn't dangle him for a lot of other people and then say, well, screw it. We're just going to go trade for Manny Machado as well, and we'll sign Manny Machado and keep him in the Bronx as a third baseman, even though he does want to play shortstop. I give Cashman credit where credit's due, but overall, I think the guy's been completely overrated. And oh, by the way, the last time he won a World Series was 2009. I know you can't win every year, but that was 9 years ago. That's a long time at this point for any perennial power in any sport. 9 years. In fact, they haven't been to a World Series since then either. And it's time for the Yankees to get back. It's time to put up or shut up here for the Yankees. And the last time in 2009, that World Series, when they were in the Fall Classic, remember how they got there? Well, yeah, they had Damon, they had Matsui, they had Jeter, of course, but they blew $435 million on Mark Teixeira, CC Sabathia, and A.J. Burnett. Brian Cashman, overall, overrated. I'm telling you. And in terms of giving him an average, I'd give him a C for his entire tenure as a Yankee front office executive. I'm Mike Lindsley here live from the Brewerton Diner. I shouldn't say live, it's a taped video, but all over IGTV, Facebook, and YouTube. You can get me on Twitter at Mike L Sports. Make sure you download my podcast, the ML Sports Platter, via Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play Music. Get to the Brewerton Diner as well. Try the omelets, try the patty melts, try the Philly cheesesteak. I'm about to bite into mine. Try everything on the menu here at the Brewerton Diner. Fresh ingredients, awesome butter, real oil, the whole deal. The Brewerton Diner is a home run, the best diner in central New York. Thanks again for watching. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.